Well, here's the thing about this industry. It's the easiest, hardest job in the world. It's easy to have a conversation with people. You just have a conversation.
Whether you're a seasoned vet of the payments industry or a brand new rookie who just heard the term dual pricing for the first time, you're in the right place. This is the only podcast that shares the strategies and stories behind selling merchant services. Welcome to Agent First.
All right, thanks for joining us for another episode of the Agent First podcast. I'm Justin Vollrath, the host here, and I am excited to be joined by the legendary Steve Frisch.
Legendary in my mind, right? Yes.
Yeah, legendary you are.
Okay, there we are.
Welcome, my friend.
Well, thank you very much for having me.
You've lived here, born and raised in New York, right?
I was born in New York. We left when I was 5 years old.
Okay.
So I've lived here ever since.
You've been at Phoenix since you were 5 years old?
Pretty much.
Okay.
We did spend 1 year in Florida. That was an experience.
Okay, yeah.
And then 2 more years, we went from Florida back to New York for 2 years and came back to Arizona.
Okay. All right. So you've been in the payments industry for a while.
28 years.
But before 28 years, I didn't realize it was that long. Wow, okay. But before that, you did a lot in the restaurant industry also.
I worked for a company called S.E. Rykoff, which became Rykoff Sexton, then U.S. Food Service. I was there 23 years.
Right, okay.
So I've been in and around the restaurant industry for over 50 years.
50 years, which is impossible because you're only 50. So
yeah, that's true.
Right?
I was
I got you.
a little kid when I started.
So that's interesting. So because I was going to say the one thing I know about you, and obviously we've worked together for a long time, right?
A long time, right.
I go back to our Heartland days, and
Correct.
You love the restaurant space.
I do.
Right? You do a lot in that space. And is it because of those years of Rykoff?
It's because of the Rykoff years, because when you're 100% commission, which I've always been most of my life, you had to find restaurants. Because unlike everything else, first in generally gets it.
Right.
And my biggest competition wasn't the other food companies. My biggest competition was my other salespeople.
Yes.
Because if they got there before I did, I never got it.
Right.
If a competitor got in there, I still had opportunities to sell and make money. But if one of my people got in there, I'm out.
Right.
Which wasn't always good.
Interesting.
But
Okay.
being in sales, if you're driving home and you see an opportunity, and if it's 5:30, 6 o'clock, you can't wait until tomorrow because somebody else might get there before you. So you pull over and you just start your conversation.
Right.
And that's the way I've always been for 50 years doing that.
I love that. Let's talk more about that, because I know this, but I think there's a lot of people out there that this is going to be an aha moment. But you have a really simple yet effective approach to finding new restaurants. You love going after new restaurants because obviously back in the day when you're selling food,
Correct.
You're trying to get the new people.
Correct.
How do you find new restaurants? How do you know about them?
I used to buy leads, but the leads I bought, I already knew about them.
Right.
So I
They're
stopped.
too late, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. The biggest thing is when I'm driving down the road, I'm rubbernecking. I'm always left and right. The biggest thing is dumpsters. If you see a dumpster, something's going on. I'd pull in, and I could tell if it's going to be a restaurant. So I'd walk in, people are there, and if it was a new strip mall, and there are 3 or 4 or 5 places in there being built, I'd just walk in and go, hey, which one of these is going to be the restaurant? And these guys tell you everything.
Right.
And then you have a conversation, and is the owner around? He just left. He comes every 3 days. And I would say, well, what kind of car does he drive? What kind of truck does he drive? Oh, he drives a white Chevy pickup. Great, thank you. So every time I'd go by, I'd look, if there's a white Chevy pickup in it, I'd pull right over.
Yeah.
And it works very well for me.
Right.
I'm very fortunate, but that's the way I do my business. Even, my daughter and my wife are in a car and I'm driving home or from someplace and I see something going on. Excuse me, guys.
Yeah.
I pull in.
They're like, oh.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. But then they go, oh, wait, Dad's paying me money. Ooh, that works. Okay, Dad, go ahead.
Yeah, I think I remember, I don't know if I got this phrase from you or someone else. We called it executive transportation, or ET. That it was from somebody else, but that was like if you knew what they drove, you didn't have to stop in. You could just drive by and see.
Absolutely. You know, just, okay, keep on going.
Right.
And it made it very easy and simple for me.
Right.
And, you know, when I would go into an existing restaurant, when I was selling food, I'd go in the back door. I wouldn't go in the front door. I'd go in the back door. Right. I'd look in the garbage cans. I'd look to see what they're throwing away. I'd walk in and the cooks there, or the dishwashers there. I'd ask them questions.
Right.
Hey, who's the owner? Who's this? What's going on? What's thrown away? Everybody mad? And that just kind of followed me when I got into the card business. Right. Because you ask, because employees in a restaurant, they know what's going on.
Right.
And they tell you. Yes. They hear the stories. And if you befriend them, they're real happy. They love to talk. So it made it easier for me to have that conversation with the new owner. I said, I understand that your POS system went down. How long was it down? Or the credit card terminal. How'd you know that? I just heard it. You know, and it made it easy to have a conversation. Right. Especially when things are going bad for him.
Yeah, then they're talking a lot when things are going bad. Employees are really talking then, right?
Correct.
Right.
Yeah, because his voice is raising, the manager's voice are raising, and it's
right.
If we can help, that's what we do.
So you're driving down the road, you see a dumpster, or you see a new strip mall. You've got it down like, okay, there's gonna be a new, Italian restaurant there, right? You have, I'm sure, some really complex computer system that you track all this stuff in and keep track of a CRM on your phone, something like that, right?
Of course.
Yeah.
I use my computer and I just make my list.
Yeah.
And it's a 2-week list, and I look down it and I just put the magic markers on. All right, Monday it's the ones I'm going to see here. When I'm done seeing them, I check them off. Right. You look at my truck; it's sitting there right there.
Right. Yeah. So you're making a list,
right?
And you're printing out. You've got a clipboard.
I do.
Sitting on your passenger seat,
right?
And that's kind of the route you're going.
I set my day up that way, and it makes it very simple. And I have their contact information. It's Bob, or they've got Square, or it's in a build-out stage. Mm-hmm. It's real simple. If somebody got a hold of it, they go, "Ooh, look, leads." So
I think that's a great lesson for so many out there, and that's some of the things we love uncovering in here is that I think sometimes people think it can only be done one way. It has to be done this way. It has to be done that way. I cold calling is dead, right? All these things you hear, but you're a true testament of a guy that's built a lot of success for many, many years on just the keep it simple method, right?
The old KISS method, absolutely.
We don't need to get I don't have to have all these bells and whistles. I can just have a clipboard and I'm looking for dumpsters as I drive down the street.
Well, basically, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm also looking for cards. I found a card in a restaurant that's being built out. And it was a food service company. In fact, it was my old food service company. Okay. The old S.E. Rykoff, which is now U.S. Food Service. And there's a young lady's name on it. So I go, okay, why not? So I gave her a call. Mm-hmm. It hasn't gone anywhere because she's kind of, I don't know who this guy is.
Right, of course, yeah.
But I told her, I worked for U.S. Food Service, S.E. Rykoff, for 23 years, yada, yada, yada. And I said, listen, I have 8 restaurants. She's right down the middle of Phoenix into Scottsdale, which was my old territory.
Okay.
And I said, I have 8 restaurants within a mile of each other in the build-out stage. Should we have a conversation to where I can give you leads? And I would like leads back.
Yeah.
She kind of doesn't know me yet, so she's really, I've spoke to her a couple of times. But it's these type of things that help you.
Yes.
If somebody's going to give you a lead, absolutely, pay them.
Right.
I have no problem paying people.
Right, absolutely. Absolutely.
I've been paying my wife and my daughter all my life. So, pretty much so.
Let's shift gears a little bit. So your days at S.E. Rykoff, the food distributor, obviously you were there a long time, you learned a lot, but there's much more to you from a personal standpoint. I recently learned that, Rykoff was where you also met your wife.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. So you really are deep into this food, like the restaurant business.
Oh, yeah.
All these aspects, right?
Oh, absolutely. This is going to sound kind of funny, but she was walking across the warehouse floor, and I told my buddy who got me the job at Rykoff, I go, ooh, I'm going to get that. I'm going to marry this girl. He said, you're out of your mind. She's way out of your league. And I said, no. Well, long story short, we became very good friends. I got married again. She said, don't get married. And then one thing led to another. She had a bad relationship. Mine wasn't bad, but I just fell in love with her the first day I met her.
Yeah.
And so 38 years later, we've been married 38 years, just celebrated it on November 20th.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome.
So
Congratulations.
And she was a secretary at first, and then she got into the Sun City sales, and she got into the school division.
Okay.
And she ran the school division.
Okay.
Very successful.
Right.
Which was kind of cool.
Yeah, she's been in sales for a long time herself, right?
long time.
Yeah.
Long time.
Okay.
She just retired from Avante. She was there for 25 years.
Okay.
And that's a greeting card company.
Right.
And she was in sales. She ran a team and everything else. And she just retired.
That's awesome.
And, she's busier now than she was when she was working. She was very busy then, but she's just busy now. I go, what are you doing today? Oh, I got so much stuff.
Yeah, do this. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Do your thing. I'll do my thing.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. So when you think back to the changes you've seen in your 20 plus years in this industry, right? When you think about all the changes you've seen a lot.
Oh boy.
Right? What are some of what's the one that stands out in your mind that maybe it's been a positive change that you think it was like, man, I'm so glad it's like that today than it used to be?
Well, a couple of things. I just missed the real boon when they went from paper drafts to electronic drafts.
Yeah.
And the bad guys in the industry, they would sell a Zahn Junior, a little square thing, no printer, but you would run the credit card or swipe the credit card through it, and you went from 5% down to 1.5 or 1.6%.
Right.
But, Mr. Customer, in order to get that different rate, you've got to buy this piece of equipment. And, it's a little expensive, but it's going to save you so much money. And we don't sell them, we lease them.
Right.
What an awful thing.
Right.
Justin, we had to start at $109.95 for 48 months on a Zahn Junior or Narit 2085. The payout factor was well over $3,000 for a little bitty terminal that was $100.
$100, yeah.
Didn't take me long to figure out that's not right.
Wow.
So,
yeah, and I bet a lot of people that are listening to this now that are maybe haven't been in this industry very long, probably never experienced the nasty days of leasing like you and I did.
Yes.
You're exactly right. I mean, it was truly a device that you could pay for with 1 or 2 months worth of payments.
Oh yeah.
And now you were leasing for 3-4 years.
Correct.
And no way to cancel it. And if you tried canceling, it was horrific.
Northern Leasing, horrible company.
Yeah.
They wouldn't let anything cancel out. And then when your lease expired, you either had to pay them 10% for the buyout or send the equipment back.
That's right.
And then if you sent the equipment back, they go, oh, this isn't workable anymore. Yeah. We're still going to charge you that 10%.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm paying $4,800. You're going to charge me another $480?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
You could have bought the thing for $100.
Exactly.
So, and that was the bad part of the industry.
Right.
The other part of the industry that really changed is those days you made your money on selling equipment or selling the downloads, $100, $200, something like that. On those big leases, you only made $650. Mm-hmm. They made the lion's share. And, if you do 2 deals a week, you made $1,300. Back then, it wasn't a bad deal.
Good money, yeah.
I answered an ad. It said, sleep until noon, make $1,500 a week. I said, okay, I'm in for that. Absolutely. Then once you got into it, you just knew it was a bad deal for everybody.
Scamming people.
And then I left them and went someplace else. And then a company called NDC called me. A guy by the name of Michael Cianciola, nicest guy. He goes, I want you to work for me. I said, oh, sure, why? And he said, well, I give you salary. Uh-huh. Oh, okay. He said, we give you residuals. Really? So explain that to me. Can I still lease equipment? Oh, yeah. How much do I make? And it was, I could sell the lease for $49.95 and make $500. Mm-hmm. Well, that's a lot nicer than $109.95 and make only $650.
Right. Yeah.
And then I got a salary and I got residuals. I got insurance, and I go, I'm in. So it was NDC. Then it turned to a a company called Global Payments.
Yeah. Sure.
When Global bought Heartland.
Yeah.
And I said, this is a bad thing for us.
Yeah.
And you said, everything is set in stone. I said, no, it's not. And then December of 16, you said, hey, you're going to see an email. I said, what's going on? I'm leaving. Why? They're doing things. I said, okay, here it is.
Yeah.
And it just trickled on. And so from there, I went to another company from Global. I went to Integrity and nice people. Then my relationship ended there. Oh, well, it happens.
Yep.
And then I tried to get on with Heartland, and I didn't get anywhere. Mm-hmm. And then I saw an ad again, and I reached out again, and this guy by the name of Justin Vollrath called me.
I think I've heard of him.
And I go, oh, cool. We had a conversation, met at a coffee place at Thomas and about 64th Street.
Yeah.
And had a great conversation. I didn't hear from him. So I called him a couple of weeks later. He said, oh, I'm a little busy. Call me back. It took 6 weeks. And I finally get hired. And I said, why? Well, I wanted to make sure you really had the desire to work.
That's right.
And I said, yeah,
It's the
I do.
test I did. Yeah.
Correct,
Exactly.
yes.
Yeah.
And then from there, before it was a salary position, very small residuals. And then at Heartland, it was the old 94 comp plan. Mm-hmm. You made half of the residuals up front, and then you still made 15%. Mm-hmm. Well, the half of the residuals was very nice. If you had a $2,000 margin deal, you got $1,000. Okay, that works. And then everything happened, and it was Beyond, and then you left Beyond, and there was a couple of people you called real first. It was Mike and everybody here in town, and I followed you. I think I was the third or fourth guy. And you went from a commission residual to a full-fledged residual.
Right, exactly.
It's the greatest thing in the world.
That's great, man. That's great.
It takes you about a year, and people get very nervous about this.
Yep.
It takes you a year.
It takes time.
It does. Yep. But after you do that, then it just exponentially grows upon itself.
Right.
And there are people in this industry that make, oh my God, money.
Right, absolutely. Absolutely. So what do you think, like, again, you're long time in this industry, you've seen a lot of changes. So you've had lots of ups and downs, right? I mean, there's
it happens.
There's a roller coaster of this industry. There's
Correct.
a roller coaster of forced buyouts and companies getting gobbled up and changes happening and moving and all these things. But you've stayed steady in this, right? You've never lost your why. Your family motivations, all those sort of things have always driven you in a big way. What would you say to that person out there who's getting ready to get into this industry? First off, would you tell them to get into this industry? Well, number two, what would you tell them?
I was having a conversation with a young lady last night at the little dinner we had, and she's really thinking about it. And I said, here's the thing about this industry. It's the easiest, hardest job in the world. Mm-hmm. It's easy to have a conversation with people. You just have a conversation. You give them a 30-second commercial, mm-hmm. and if they bite, fine. If they say leave, okay, you leave, thank you very much, and you wait a couple of weeks, you go back. When I worked for another company, we used to go to Western states and Midwest and everything else, and there was a gentleman by the name of Gideon. He wrote a book, it said, go for the no's.
Yep.
It takes 7 no's before you get a yes. So you keep going back, no. Eventually, they're going to go, you know what, let's have a conversation.
Right.
Because you're always dropping things. You always leave hints. Debit cards, check cards. They have a much different rate. And you would just tell the customer, well, next time you look at your statement, look at your debit cards. Mm-hmm. It's a VD or an MD, Visa debit, MasterCard debit. Look at that. See if it's still up at 165 or 189.
Right.
Raw cost of that is 5.
Right.
So you're getting hammered.
Yeah.
We should have a conversation.
Yeah.
And you just leave those little bits of things, and they look, and they finally go, yeah, let's have a conversation. And then you have a conversation.
Right, absolutely.
And in the old days, you used to be able to download equipment.
Yeah.
Not anymore. Everything is proprietary.
Yeah.
But the beauty about working for PayCompass is we have the ability to sell the equipment whatever we want. If we want to eat the equipment, we can. We can eat it in 6 months payments, or we can go to 24-month payments. And if a guy doesn't want to pay $300 or $400 for a terminal, well, no problem. I can break it up into 6 payments for you. Right. It costs you $50 a month for 6 months.
Right. Find a solution, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, find a solution.
And you give us that ability, even with POS systems. Right. You give us the ability to do it.
I love it.
Whether it's 6 months or 24 months.
I love hearing that, brother. One last question for you.
Okay.
What is your favorite piece of hardware?
My favorite piece of hardware?
Yeah, I mean in the credit card processing industry.
In the credit card processing world, it's got to be the VP800.
Okay, yeah.
I love that Valor. Yeah. It's a larger terminal, easy for people to read, front-facing screen, especially if you do dual pricing.
Beautiful, man.
Because it's completely compliant. It says cash price, card price. Oh, okay. And they make the choice. I want to pay cash. Great. I want to do card. Oh, you go ahead and take care of it. You touch the screen, you tap the screen, you insert it, you swipe it, whatever it is, the receipt's going to print out. Thank you very much.
I love that.
It's a wonderful piece of equipment.
I love that.
Especially
it's beautiful.
Especially if you're replacing a Square, for instance. You don't have to get a new POS system.
Right.
You just replace running it through Square through here.
Right.
And if it's a credit card, if you want to settle out your Square terminal, all you have to do is just select it as a check. Right. And check, now you can settle out the terminal. And you run your credit card, you add your tips, makes it very simple and easy. And there again, that's $695, 6 payments, $105 a month for 6 months, or great.
Makes it easy and simple, man.
It does.
And Steve, I appreciate you being here, brother. And I want you to know, you've been, and I really truly mean this, legendary in this industry. I mean, you're somebody that has been a mentor to many people, that has helped people with a lot of questions, that have helped guide people. But it's your just being simple with the approach and not overcomplicating it that I think is such a great lesson to so many out there. So I appreciate you being here.
Absolutely. I really appreciate you inviting me today. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us for another episode of the Agent First podcast. We'll see you next time.